everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This is Marissa, and it is Tuesday, so we are back with a Crochet with May Tuesday. Excuse me. I should have had this video up already, but Zoe had a band concert last night, so like the good aunt I am, I was required to attend that concert. They did an excellent job, and I really enjoyed it. But that did put me behind on the filming. So today, or this evening I should say, we are going to start on our next crochet stitch. So last week, this is what we completed. And what we did is I taught you how to do the chain stitch, the foundation chain stitch, and then I taught you how to do the single crochet. So if you weren't with us last week, welcome to my channel first of all. And if you need to go back, watch the first and the second Crochet with May videos. That's episode 1 and episode 2. And that will get you to this point here. Now, last week I did realize that after I had finished the video and posted it, I forgot to show you how to tie off your work. So I will be doing that today so that you know how to go ahead and finish off a piece. Either to change color or to finish completely. So this was the sample that we created last week. What we're going to do is we're just going to create a sample of each stitch so that you can get a feel for it. You can kind of get the texture of it. You can see how it looks when it's all worked up and different things like that. And then after that, we will start working on how to do patterns and things like that. So this was last week's. This is the single crochet stitch, so we're just going to move that out of frame real quick. And this week we are going to be working on how to do a half double crochet. So what I have already done is I have already created my foundation chain stitch. So go ahead. Sorry guys, I've got a frog in my throat. Go ahead and do that. And it can be however big or however small that you want it to be. This is just a practice piece and a sample piece when you're finished so that you can see what the stitch looks like. So I chained, I believe about 10, and then what we're going to do is we are going to start on the third chain from your hook. Okay, so if this is the loop that is on your hook here, we're going to start 1, which is here, 2, and 3. So we're actually going to start in this space here when we go to put our stitch in. So the first thing we're going to do to start this stitch is you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to go through that stitch right there. You're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull back through to pull up a loop. So as you can see, you have 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. And if you pull your hook out, that's okay. Just grab a hold of it and pull it through a little bit. So we're going to do that again. You're going to yarn over. That creates 2 loops on your hook. You're going to go through your stitch here, yarn over, and pull up a loop. You now have 3 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, we're just going to keep going. Yarn over, go into your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we're going to continue that all the way to the end of the row, and then I will show you how to create a turning chain, and I will show you how to turn your work and start the next row. Remember that you can stop the video, you can slow it down, you can rewind it and fast forward it as you need to be able to see exactly what I'm doing. I'm hoping this is a good angle and good lighting for you. This is the 3rd time that I've filmed this video to make sure that that is correct. So I hope this is working for everyone. If you get to where you feel like the stitch is a little bit loose, you can just kind of pull on your trailing yarn just a little bit, just give it a little bitty tug, and it'll pull those stitches back in a little bit tighter. If it's way loose, you're going to have to frog the work or pull all of your yarn out and start over. What you're trying to do here, excuse me, is you're trying to keep your tension even so that your stitches come out even. That's what it looks like when your tension is fairly even. Now when you get to the end, this last stitch is going to look a little bit different. So you can see here it looks kind of like a triangle. You've got your starting loop here. That was the one we first started with when we did our very first chain. And you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to go into that space there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. That is going to create the last chain. So you can see here are the last stitch, excuse me, that'll keep your rows even. So one of the things that a lot of new crocheters struggle with is keeping their edges even. So we're going to be working on that as well. So now that we're at the end, we've put a half double crochet stitch into our last space there. We are going to chain 2. So 1 and 2, just like you do if you're creating a chain. And we're going to turn our work, and you're going to turn it anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, whichever way that you say it. Now, when you're looking at this, you can see there's a space right here. That is not the space that we're going to go into. We are going to, actually, sorry, this over here is not the space we'll go into. We're going to go into this space right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 3. So now you have your chain here and your first stitch here. And we're going to keep going like that to the end of your work. Now my sample is only going to be 3 rows tall. If you would like to continue on with this stitch, you can make a washcloth. You can make a dishcloth. You could make, if you use cotton, I would suggest using cotton for a washcloth, cotton yarn, rather than acrylic. You could make a pot holder. Again, use cotton yarn if you're going to put water or heat anywhere near it. The acrylic will melt with heat, but the cotton will withstand it. So a lot of us can remember our grandmothers or mothers possibly having crocheted items like that. When you get to this stitch here, you can see there's a stitch right there, and we're going to go into that stitch right there. That's part of that turning chain, and you're going to put your last stitch there. So you can see here. So if your turning chain over here counts as a stitch, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So that's how that works. So we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to turn our work again, and you're going to repeat that row once again. You can see right there I made a mistake, and I can see that mistake. So I am just going to pull that out. I missed my first yarn over, and so I did not have the correct stitch going. That was a single crochet stitch rather than a half double. Excuse me while I pull some more yarn out. And the more yarn that you pull from the center, we're doing a center pull again. You go back and watch videos 1 and 2 for that. The more that you use that yarn, the easier it is to pull. It kind of loosens up after a while once it's not condensed so tightly in there. And there we go. So we now have 3 rows of half double crochet done. So the way that you would end a project, I'm going to end here. You do not have to. If you would like to continue working on your project, you are more than welcome. Again, like I said, depending on the type of yarn you use, you can make all kinds of things. I've used these acrylic ones as dust cloths, you know, especially for like the TV and things like that. So you can keep going and make a square, or, you know, however large you would like to do that. I'm going to end my sample here. And the way that you do that is actually very, very easy. You are going to do a chain stitch. So basically what that is you're going to yarn over on your hook. You're going to pull through. And then when you get to this point right here, you're going to keep pulling until you've got about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of yarn pulled out. Then you're going to remove your hook, take your scissors, snip your thread, or your yarn, excuse me. You're going to pull out your trailing end, and it will let go. And then you're going to take your tail, and you're just going to give it a little tug until this is a nice tight knot there. And then once you have that knot, that is going to be secure. So I do that way when I am changing colors and when I'm finishing off a project, and I have not yet had a project come unraveled on the ends. Now the reason that you wanted to leave a couple of inches here, you notice I did it on my starting and on my ending, is because what we're going to do in a future lesson is I'm going to teach you how to weave these ends into the stitches of your project so that those ends are hidden. Because if I snip this here, chances are it's going to unravel. This knot will come undone, and then your whole project will unravel. You see how easy it is to pull out? Well, you can imagine one of these getting cut, it's all going to come apart. So we leave a couple of inches, and what we'll do in a future project is we will go through and we will weave these in so that they're invisible, but they're secure. If you have any questions, guys, drop them in the comment section below. I hope that everybody enjoyed this. I'm going to show you the half double crochet versus the single crochet. So each stitch that we do from here on out is going to be progressively taller. So your shortest stitch is going to be your single crochet stitch. And so you can see this right here is 4 rows of single crochet. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of single crochet. This is 3 rows of half double crochet. This is a taller stitch, and so when I lay them down side by side, you can see it takes 4 rows of single crochet to get the same amount of height as 3 rows of half double crochet. And you can see the difference in the stitches as well. Your half double crochet, you're going to have a little more space in between each of your stitches. Your holes are going to be a little bit bigger and easier to see. This is what I would call more of a dense stitch. I have done a blanket using all single crochet, and it was a nice heavy blanket. This is a much denser stitch, and the stitches are much tighter than any of the others that you're going to do. So this one is still fairly dense, but it is a little bit looser than what this one is. So we're going to continue doing this. This is your single crochet sample and your half double crochet sample. And the other thing that I'm going to talk to you about today is we are going to be, or I should say, I'm going to be making a Facebook group for our crochet, and it will be a secret group, so be looking out for the announcement of it. I'm still working out some of the details and things like that. The other exciting piece of news for those of you that knit, I don't knit. I know how. I don't enjoy it as much as I do the crochet. So one of our fellow YouTube creators has agreed to basically do the same thing with knitting that I'm doing here with crochet, and that is to teach the basic stitches with the intention of doing a stitch along with us. We're all going to make a blanket together. If you prefer to knit, you can knit. If you prefer to crochet, you can crochet. And we'll be going from there. And then, you know, towards the end of the year, we will start making a blanket together. And we're going to use probably the same colorways for both blankets. We may use we'll probably use different stitches and things that possibly look similar. We're still working out those details. But if you knit instead of crochet, that is also available to you. And I will give you more information as it becomes available. For now, be watching for the Facebook group. I'll make an announcement and I'll drop those links into the description box as well once I get it set up. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or comments, drop those down below. And until I see you next week, guys, remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to do things. Bye.